God, Dean Wade can't move his feet. What's up, everybody? Print Factory Show, talking NFL main slate here. You know how it is. Big T, Uncle Dunkle. Sorry to say ODB couldn't make it. He's hopefully he's winning some money at the World Series of Poker. Hopefully that's what he's doing right now. I think that's what he's doing. So he couldn't be here. Maybe he'll give you guys some winners on Twitter. But we'll get the winners for you. We got Dunkle for the winners. Dunkle, what's up, man? Tell us what happened last week. Give us the goods. Did you guys smash?
Yeah, so collectively, definitely, and you haven't heard me say this often, so give me a break. My worst week in the NFL this year. Wasn't like a catastrophe in the NFL for me, but it was. I've been really consistent in the NFL. I continue to say college has been holding me back, but NFL has been a lot of good reads. That was my first losing week. However, the silver lining was the Jets upsetting and putting me into the driver's seat and a bunch of my survivors. But outside of that, yeah, I mean, looking forward to having a better week this go around. A lot of juicy matchups, some games I like as well, even this early. So looking forward to chatting on it.
Yes, I'm sorry, I got basketball on at the top. Mobley just trained a three. That was a big three for old JSU. Tony, what's up, buddy? We got these hoop sweaters going on right now, but we're gonna do this show anyways. How's your night going? How was your NFL week last week?
I mean, I'm still rattled from you starting the Print Factory with Dean Wade's friggin' name. Like, of all people to start the Print Factory with, talk about starting bad mode. Like, Simon should have to restart the show right now just so we don't have to start our week with Dean Wade.
See, the problem is that I'm watching this game and I got a lot of riding on this game right now, and Dean Wade just can't keep himself in the game. It's very hurtful.
I mean, at least start with like Jared Allen crushing, like good mojo, not Dean Wade's feet, his concrete feet. Like, that's not how we want to start the week.
That's the goofy
white rough scene.
Yeah, like the dude from I think Kansas State that just
he played there.
Cement feet, like but yeah, the NFL was good last week. It's nice when you win. I mean, I haven't won too many weeks, DFS wise. I'm talking about actually the last 2 years. I've been better betting than DFS in NFL, which is not normal for me. Usually I'm better DFS than betting. That's why we got to bet people like Dunkel and Keg and these guys that consistently pick winners. I've been hot on the bet side and cold on the NFL DFS side, but it flip-flopped last week. I won a ton of money like JSU did with James Robinson. Like, on all my teams, I still made a bunch of money. So in one way, I'm happy because I had a big week. I had James Robinson who got hurt, and I had a bunch of Mo Alley who got a donut, and I still made money. So on one way, I'm happy because I made money, finally turned a profit. Also, a little disappointed because it could have been a massive, massive week. I crushed Yahoo too, had a huge week there. It's a good week, though. I'm going to take it. I'm not going to complain. I'm going to bring the good mojo. We got a W. We got some good games this week, and we're going to keep it going. ODB did tell me that he picked a bunch of winners again last week on the show. He wanted me to victory lap for him. I can do that. He's been picking winners all year. He's contending for back-to-back titles in the Super Contest, which is the big contest, as everyone knows, for picking winners. Hopefully he can do that. It'd be sweet to have our boy go back-to-back in that thing. And we got the sports betting national championship this week. I was talking to Dunkel a little. I've talked to JSU a little bit the last couple of weeks. I still haven't decided. I don't think any of us know if we're going to do it yet. But overlay is looming. And with that overlay looming, I might have to enter it. I might have to go somewhere and enter this puppy because it could. I heard they only got like 80 people in it right now, and they need like 450 to not overlay. So, I mean, The thing starts in 2 days. It's 10 grand. There's not a lot of people that can just pony up 10 grand for a betting championship. We might see some real good overlay in this thing. I'm going to keep my eye on it. If it gets close, probably won't play just because it's not legal in my state. But if it does get close to overlay, I probably will get in my car.
I will say that is going to be interesting how they fill those seats. I mean, 2 days
Hopefully
away,
they give them to people like me. I'll take it.
Yeah,
Send it my way, DK.
They will, though.
if you're watching, I mean, you could send it. New Hampshire is a 40-minute drive from my house. I think Connecticut's the other way. Yeah, I mean, I can make one of those trips. I forget the exact rules, but I'm pretty sure it's just you have to be in a state where you can legally bet, like, and it gives you the certain. So you don't have to go to like New Jersey or Tennessee or like, there's not like one live final place you have to be. You just need to be able to bet in that state. Correct, Uncle? Is that that's the rules, right?
Yeah, and I do think they'll get this filled up, Tony, because like I said, guys like you and me who are on the fence, like the hosts are going to start reaching out. I mean,
I agree. So, if it fills, though, that's going to mean giving people like us deals of some sort. I'm not saying it's going to be free, but of some sort where we get some sort of compensation for getting it, which is fine because that will nudge me in the right direction. I mean, just to be honest.
Yep.
Yeah, because I mean, we were both. I think we were both talking about this one. We were both entered in the one right before COVID.
Yeah. JSU was too, I think.
I was in it. Yeah, we were all in it.
Yeah, so I mean, if they press the right buttons, they'll probably get us all in it again.
Yep. You guys are luckily in a better position than me. I'm going to have to drive because somehow Indiana is legal to bet, but it's not in the sports betting championship. So the state that is only a half hour from me is somehow not legal for it. Every other state is. So I got to drive either to Hoop's house or to K. Fallick's house. They're in Tennessee.
Tony, why don't you just pop in a plane and come stay at Old Castle JSU?
Or JSU. I could do that too. But the problem is we got to still drive at your house somewhere.
Yeah, we would drive 40 minutes down the road, New Hampshire. It's not a bad drive, but yeah.
But you got to stay there in case something pops up, though, to get another thing in.
Yep.
You almost got to spend the weekend there.
We would have to spend the weekend somewhere. We would figure it out.
Yeah. It's probably going to happen. I mean, I'm sure they'll send us some deals the next couple of days.
Yeah, I think the difference last time was right. They were hooking people up with hotel rooms. Are they doing that?
I don't know.
I'd do that again. I wish they'd say that. Like, get us a hotel room by Dunkel. We'll meet in Jersey and we'll hang out up there for the weekend.
Yeah, that's
if you're listening, DK,
that's what made it
more our way. We'll meet Dunkel for the weekend.
That was definitely what made it a few years back, though. So we'll see.
Tony's in Kentucky, not Indiana.
If I was in Indiana, though, it wouldn't be legal either. So it doesn't matter if I was in Indiana.
Yep, this is true. All right. So not that you guys care, but I'm going to tell you anyways. I think Tony already knows. My DFS week was a great week. I think I gave away a bunch of winners. My actual how I did, though, I felt like Tony, I should have done better. There were some unfortunate things that happened. Injuries are just, there's nothing you can do about them. I had 70% Jameis Winston, all on Traquan teams. I talked about Traquan on the show on Wednesday. I hope people played him. It was a good cheap play. But I had 100% James Robinson as well. So, and I still somehow won money. So I can't complain. I can't complain too much. I felt like I was on the right side. I had Michael Pittman and AJ Brown and Chris Godwin. I thought they were easy plays. They were three of my top 4 or 5 wide receiver in my player pool. So I felt like from the touting standpoint, I gave away some winners. I had some good plays. My cores were on point. You just, you can't do nothing about the injuries. You just got to move on to the next week and keep with the process. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to keep going. And hopefully this week I can avoid the injury bug. I had Josh Jacobs, Miles Sanders 2 weeks ago. I need to avoid these damn running back injuries. Can someone tell me who's getting injured this week? At least
can they freaking get hurt in the second half? Do they always have to get hurt after they have a good drive? Like one good drive and then get hurt?
It's painful. It's real painful.
When you see that report come up on the phone, like this guy left and they're going to be like, it's just sick. It's like,
honestly, too, it's one of those things where I should have just put my phone down, closed it out, not watch. But I can't help myself. I need to watch the games. I'm a junkie. I need to watch the football. But whatever. What are you going to do? Let's move on to this week. We got some good games here, some interesting news, of course. We're not going to dive into it too much with all the situations and everything like that. But obviously, Aaron Rodgers is out for this week with the COVID. So that's going to leave Jordan Love to starting. Jordan Love, if you watched any Jordan Love in the preseason, I do not think he looked that great in the preseason. The Packers play the Chiefs. That's going to be really interesting because the Chiefs have been playing. I have a question for you guys before we get into this actual slate. Do you think Pat Mahomes, like, he honestly lost that game on that pick that luckily the defender stepped off sides. I don't think he knew he was offsides. That was one of those things. I don't think he knew that because most of those times, if you know it, you're throwing the ball up like 50 yards, hoping for like a penalty or something like that. I don't think he knew it though, and he just threw a bad pass. And no one talks about that though. Like no one talks about the fact he almost ended the game by himself at the end. Like Dunkel, you watched that game. Well, what did you think? Nope, mute.
That's not. You hate to see it. No, so look, Mahomes has actually lost to them seemingly quite a few games this year. This wasn't the first time where, it was a bang play that either went his way or didn't go his way. Now, sure, if that interception holds, they don't lose the game yet there, though, JSU. I mean, they still had time to come back if that was a truly.
That's true.
But, yeah, I mean, you'd
expect. Okay, but their chances of winning go down tremendously.
Dramatically.
Yes, that's what I meant. Sorry.
And you expected, I expected KC to roll there. It was a roll spot. It was a get right spot. They've been playing all arguable playoff teams to date, and then they get the Giants at home on an extended week with Monday night. They should have played better. And again, they didn't. So yeah, they are a tough team to handicap with their defensive liabilities and Mahomes, who's become very turnover prone. I know that a lot of Mahomes hardos are defending the botched or balls that are hitting off his receiver's head, but he's making poor decisions though, and it's been kind of tough to watch. But
Uncle, he's throwing jump passes. I mean, I'm sorry, but some of these play calls, at a certain point, maybe it's not all Mahomes. I mean, some of these play calls, you have Pat Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks in all of football, maybe the best still, and you have some of the best receiving talent. Just run some damn plays. Like, don't do the trickery stuff with, trying to catch people. They're doing underhand. I know it's worked for them. It's just, I don't know. It's kind of crazy to me. I think it's kind of like he gets too cute at times down in the red zone. Instead of just being like, you know what? We got Travis Kelce. We got Tyreek Hill. We got all these damn weapons. Let's just use them and run a good play to get our quarterback in a position where we can get them the football. And if they're going to double them, well, then someone else is going to be open, whether it's just running the football or it's finding another receiver. But you got to know that going in. I mean, the Giants played the same the Giants played that too high safe. They dared them to run the football. I thought Mahomes did a better job checking it down to receivers, which he didn't do very rarely weeks past. I thought was interesting, but I think he still could have done it more and chose not to. Tony, you have a take on the Mahomes last week?
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're broken. I was on the Giants. I'm just going to proceed as they're broken until they prove me otherwise. I think Kelsey's hurt too. He just doesn't look right. He hasn't looked right for a month now. He was like pouting. He fumbled. He doesn't look like the normal Kelsey. I don't know what's going on with him, but I mean, I've thought they're broken, and I really don't see a reason to think otherwise. They just haven't looked good. So I know the line moved a bunch this week as we get to that game later. But, I mean, if they're ever given more than a touchdown to anybody, I just don't see how you could not take the other team right now. I'm just going to keep going against them. I still think they will probably figure it out at some point. I mean, they're too good not to. They're too well coached not to. But something's going to have to happen. Like, they're going to have to actually figure something out. They didn't figure it out last week. He looked better, but they still had some turnovers down in there. That's the problem with all these dump-offs. They just haven't been able to put together a 13-play drive. They want to score in 5 plays, and eventually they keep making a mistake, whether it's a fumble, a pick, whatever happens. Yeah, I think they're broken right now. So until they prove me otherwise, I'm going to proceed the other way.
All right. Well, we'll get back to the Chiefs in that game in a little bit. Let's start quickly with the Thursday night game. I don't want to spend too much time on it. I just want to see if you guys have a lean from a betting perspective. We got the Jets. We got the Indianapolis Colts. Colts big favorites here, -10.5, 46 is the total. Dunkel, going to you here. We got any winners from this game, or is this kind of like a spot you don't really want to go after?
Yeah. So what do you make about Mike White, right? So I think for me, I make of this line is a complete overreaction one week to the next. And I really like Colts first half, lay 6.5. You could go big, lay for the game, but I'm worried about a bit of a backdoor cover. Mike White, I thought I saw a stat that said he didn't throw a single football 15 yards in the air vertically on Sunday.
No way. Not one?
Everything was dink and dunks inside of 15 yards all game long and yards after catch. So I just think the Colts, it's hard to dink and dunk them. They have very smart linebackers. They have good safety play. And I think they're going to force this kid to throw on them consistently. Look, the problem is with the Colts these days is Wentz has these like blackout snaps where you can't even really explain what just happened. But assuming he holds up against a defense that's likely not going to get much pressure on him, and a defense that Taylor should be able to split the tackles on, I like the Colts first half come out in a short week at home.
Okay, Colts first half. Tony, you got a winner for this game, or do you want to leave it to the Thursday Showdown show tomorrow?
Yeah, I mean, the Colts just, man, they've hurt my feelings. They look good, and they just self-destruct. They should have beat the Ravens. They should have beat – I mean, obviously, they should have beat the Titans last week. They had that game won. There's one more game, too, that I think they should have won. They just keep losing these close games, though. Super frustrating. I don't know. I think they might be a little heartbroken after last week. So I tend to lean a little bit the Jets' way, but I agree with Dunkel where the Jets did look good. It was a perfect spot for them last week. Could be a little bit of overreaction. The Colts are definitely a way better team. I like the Colts as far as a team, but man, I do worry. They basically lost their season last week. It was a must-win spot. They had to beat the Titans. They had the game won. I mean, they were up 14-0. They were really dominating the football game. And to lose it like they lost it, I kind of think they might be a little snake bit. And that does worry me about the Colts. Because if you have Super Bowl aspirations coming into the season and that you lose them all by week 8, I don't know. I don't love the game either way. We'll talk more on the Showdown about the DFS side, but I tend to lean a little Jets. I could even do it where Dunkel. I kind of meet in the middle, maybe take the Colts first half and see how it's going, and then bet the live line, maybe the Jets, and hope you get a little middle. Maybe the Colts go out early and then the Jets backdoor. Maybe you get a nice little middle through that. So I don't know. I don't have a ton of conviction. If the Colts come to play, they'll blow out the Jets. I'll say that much.
Okay. I was not expecting you to even glance to the Jets in this spot here.
I'm never partial, JSU. You know this about me.
But you have been on the Carson Wentz train, and I feel like this is a spot where if you are a believer in Carson Wentz, you need to come out with the jersey. You need to say, this is where Carson Wentz comes in. He puts his foot right on their throat and he stomps them down.
That was last week. I had the jersey on last week. I was ready. I was all in. I played him. I played 150 teams, all 3 sites I play, all Carson Wentz.
I know, but
you hurt my feelings.
You have to beat the Jets in this spot. Like, you have to beat them, and you have to beat them.
You have to beat them for what, though? Like, they might already be snake bit. They might already be done.
I think if they were remotely snake bitten, I think the Derrick Henry news should have induced some flavors of life into this team.
You think they can still? You still think they can get past the Titans? How many games back are they?
Well, they're 3, I think.
Plus the tiebreaker,
and they don't have the tiebreaker, obviously. So
4 games back.
I'd be interested though in what this Tennessee.
Don't get my spirits back up, Doug. Don't bring me back in here. Don't get me excited.
Is it crazy to think that Tennessee goes
back in? Where's Carson?
A little skid without Henry, right? I mean, ultimately we'll see how important he is, but I think that's critical news, which could have given a little bit of life back to the Colts. Still outside looking in, but I think they have more chance than obviously with Henry being in there.
Yeah, it's going to be really interesting to see how important is Derrick Henry.
Both of those freaking games won too. I'm pulling their schedule up because I'm frustrated.
And you should be frustrated because you know what? Oh no, Anthony Edwards headed to the locker room. That is not what we want to hear. on this. Hopefully you didn't play any Anthony
So
Edwards
just talking
for me.
about their schedule, you got the Rams game. They played great and lost. They easily could have won that. The Ravens game, I mean, I don't know. I still don't know how they lost the Ravens game. They completely blew it. They were the better team the whole game. And then last week, the Titans. So, I mean, 3 games the other way. Really, the only games they got thoroughly beaten were week 1, didn't show up. And the other Titans game even was close for a while. I don't know. The Colts, I still think they're way better than their record shows, but hopefully they come out. I'll get back on with Dunkel. I got no problem getting on the Colts. That's my squad.
All right. Well, hopefully the Colts can get it done for you. I still struggle to see Carson Wentz. He's that interception at the end was just awful. That's all I got to say. We'll move on, though. Let's talk about some of these main slate games. Start off with the Patriots and the Panthers. Patriots -3.5 here. 41 is the total. I will say this right now. Not a fantasy-friendly game, in my opinion. I think it's going to be a sluggish game here. Dunkel, what do you think from a bet side?
Yes, this is likely going to be your biggest quote-unquote trap game of the week, as the cool kids say. Yeah, so what I will say is the look headline for this was Pats 2.5. Patriots look really good against the Chargers. Panthers kind of sneak a win against Atlanta, moves the Patriots line a full point. I don't know. I don't think this Patriots team is as good as they've looked. I'd hate to give them, not to give them enough credit, because they're still winning under Belichick and they're winning with a rookie quarterback and they're winning without crazy amount of weapons on offense. But here I'll wait to see, because I think you can sit on this, wait to get 4.5, and then maybe tease that right to 10.5. So I'm going to sit on this game and wait, but nothing pregame for me. It might be a teaser option if Panthers can slide to 4.5.
All
right, Tony, what do you think of this game?
Yeah, the Patriots, I mean, we've kind of made fun of them on this show, and they're a sign of a well-coached team, because I don't think they're any good. They keep playing tough, though. I mean, all season, really, they haven't had any just disastrous games. I respect Belichick. I know everyone does. He's one of the best coaches, but man, for what he's doing with this team, now they're favored by 4 on the road. Is that right? 3.5 on the road. I mean, that just feels, that's crazy to me versus Carolina. I mean, McCaffrey could still play too. Some of the reports were acting like he could maybe play. So I don't know. As far as fantasy, though, so we don't sit here and talk all night about these games. I mean, I don't see a ton in this game DFS wise. I like just more like all of the Patriot games. I just don't see it. Jacoby Myers, I just keep saying it every week. I'm going to quit him. Every week I play him in his 9 fantasy points. One of these weeks I'm just going to absolutely not play him. And this is going to be the week. I can't do it, man.
Why can't you listen to me with this fucking Jacoby Myers and these Patriots? They are evil. Stay away from them. They're just fantasy evil. And if you care, Anthony Edwards is back. He's back in the game. So we're all good there. I will have nothing from this game, like at all. Christian McCaffrey might. Here's the thing. He practiced very, very limited, I think, on Wednesday. I think Matt Rule said he got very little work, like actually in practice. So I'm sure he'll be very cautious with him, ramp him up slowly. And then he said, as long as there's no setbacks, we'll see. Even if he plays, it's like a limited role here. I think there's no way they're going to rush him back and risk injury. So I'm just off. No McCaffrey, no nothing for me. Let's move on to the next game. I guess we'll go to this one next. This one's a big spread, but the Bills here. I want to talk about the Bills because from a DFS side, I think they're going to be very popular. -14.5 against the Jaguars, which they looked awful. I mean, the Jacksonville Jaguars against Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks. I know it was in Seattle. I know James Robinson, who's one of their better players, got hurt, but still doesn't matter. That performance was just trash. Just so bad. I mean, Urban Meyer is gonna be done by the end of the year. I mean, he is just not an NFL coach. Just go back to college, Urban. Just go back to college where you're good and where you can recruit players and you can just be better than all the other teams because you recruit all the good players. Like, that's fine. But you're just not an NFL coach. Get out of here.
Get your backdrop up.
No, I'm not getting it up. I'm owning him right now, and that's it. He doesn't even deserve to go on the backdrop. Not even half of them. All right, Dunkel. Tell me why Urban Meyer is the worst coach in the NFL right now.
He's in the conversation, but I'll give him a few more games into his NFL tenure.
He's playing Jamal Agnew. I mean, seriously, what? Has anyone actually watched the Jaguars? I know it's hard to watch.
My least favorite part of the Prep Factory this season is JSU talking about Urban Meyer.
No,
I literally
Tony,
want to stab my ears out when he talks about it.
This is some bullshit, Tony. Oh. This is some bullshit. You never. So when I don't give you credit, you hammer me. When I don't give you credit, when you don't give me credit
for what?
I told
this is why I'm annoyed with this argument. It's 7 games in.
Okay, how are they doing? 7 games in, Tony. How are they doing?
What are they supposed to be doing?
But how are they doing? Tell me, how are they doing?
Dunkel, how could I like Dunkel? Dunkel, if I thought he was a good coach, what should their record be? No, let's ask Dunkel. He's the midi.
No.
What should their record be,
Seattle,
Dunkel?
35-7? Geno Smith? Seattle? Tony, wake up. Jamal Agnew is playing snaps, and Geno Smith is on the other side spanking them.
The biggest issue with arguments in general is that both sides assume the other side will be, rational. I think we're dealing with a few different irrational takes here, and I'll just plead the fifth.
It would be like if they were somehow like 5-1, and I was just like victory lapping. He's the greatest coach of all time. Like,
no, but
JSU would be just as mad. He would be like, it's like last week when my boy scored 2 touchdowns, and JSU just refused to acknowledge it.
This is where I think I know you watch the game, so I'm not even going to call you out for that, which I think it's even worse.
Yeah, they looked bad, but they're Jacksonville.
They looked awful, though, Tony.
They were the number 1 pick. They were the worst team last year. They're not coming off a Super Bowl.
I'm all done. I will not bring up Urban Meyer until the last game of the season when they're still awful, and then you will finally give me my damn credit at the end of this year. That's it.
So they were the worst team in football last year. If they're
all done. All done.
JSU's like when it's week 17 and the Jaguars are 4-13, which was what their preseason number was.
Yeah, they were a 4-win total team, and he's victory lapping them.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, but coaches are very important. You told me he was a great coach. He was a great coach in college. Guess what? It's not college. You can't just recruit the best players and have the most talent on the team and win. Sorry, Tony. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. I don't know what you want. Dunkel's laughing. He knows it's true. I can't help it.
I want to go back to JSU victory lapping his $4,800 Javonte Williams, who had 3 carries for 7 yards.
What do you have? 7.3. I forget what he had.
What do you expect out of a $4,000 running back, Tony?
Yeah. Yeah. And then my 4,200 guy got 20 last week.
This is what I mean. And then I get hammered for Javonte. We haven't even brought up Javonte yet. I mean, hammer me when we get to Denver. I mean, you can't wait, Dunkel. Jeez, this is my time right now. Tony, talk to me about the Jags. Come on, give me something. Is there anything here? Can we have a look?
I fell in love with James Robinson last week, and we already talked about this, but he broke my heart. I loved him going into that game. And, oh, man, that's another reason. I don't want to go down this avenue again, but that did not help the matter that they had to play Carlos Hyde the rest of that game, which was not preferable to the old winning hopes. Even though they were reverse Geno, the minute James Robinson leaves, it becomes a little thinner of an option there. But yeah, this week, I mean, Buffalo, one of the best teams in football. Jacksonville, one of the worst teams in football. So obviously, when Buffalo rolls them up, it's Urban Meyer's fault, Uncle. But I think you can definitely go with Josh Allen and Diggs. These are the games where over the years I just don't play these games DFS wise. Buffalo is one of those teams though that they do just score a bunch, and sometimes they just get there no matter what. And the thing is that I don't acknowledge. Again, I try to pride myself on not being too stubborn with stuff. Sometimes you just get easier points too, right? Like maybe you don't have the fourth quarter upside you would in other spots, but your floor is just so high with these guys that maybe they have a bad game and he gets like 23 or something, whereas other guys have to have a good game to get in the mid 20s. So I don't know. I'm more open to it. I do think that you could definitely play those guys. I wouldn't go super heavy though, just because they're still a big favorite. You're going to lose some upside if Jacksonville can't score at all. It is a little flop lag if James Robinson does play, though, after he let us down, come back, catch a bunch of dump offs. I doubt I'll do it because Buffalo is really good. And one more just comment. I mean, our boy Holden, who's given some good winners, said he loves Zach Moss this week. I don't hate the spot. Again, they're favored by 2 touchdowns or more. Fourth quarter, he's their number one guy. He's only 5,300, which is a great price point, obviously. He's 6K on FanDuel, which is cheap, 18 on Yahoo, which is cheap. I could be talked into a little low-owned Zach Moss this week in this spot versus Jacksonville. Holden has been on point with these calls. He really hasn't missed one. He's treated me well all year, so I'm going to ride with him and play some Zach Moss.
Yeah, actually, it's kind of funny. He brought up Zach Moss's name. I was looking into him earlier. I was going to bring him up on this show too. It's good to see Holden notice it too. He's starting to really outsnap. I mean, last time they played last week, 64% of the snaps for Zach Moss, 34% for Singletary, 22 more offensive snaps than Singletary. That's what we like to see in a running back. I mean, so you give me 60+% of the snaps and a cheap price tag too. Now we're talking in a game script where I think they're going to be up for most of this game. Yes, this is what I like. And on top of it, Tony, you talked about you don't really love attacking these spots. We know Josh Allen is going to be popular. And not only Josh Allen, but his receiving options, because if people are playing Josh Allen, they're all putting a wide receiver, at least one, maybe two. Zach Moss might be great tournament leverage off of some of those wide receivers. You know, if Zach Moss can get a nice 1 or 2 yard, a couple, touchdowns in the red zone and goal line, that's great off of Josh Allen teams if you're not playing them. So love it. Dunkel, what do you see here from a bet side?
Yeah, so slightly in favor of the under. The reason why I don't fully like it at 48.5, I actually have to probably get to 50 for me to really jump in. Main issue is I don't like taking teams off of like woeful offensive performances. Jacksonville looked completely lifeless last week, and Buffalo, I couldn't even believe like that final score is so misleading in that Miami game. Like it was like a 3-point game with like 6 minutes left, and like Miami kept
tilting too, Dunkel. Like DFS wise, when you didn't play Josh Allen and they end up getting like 29, it was just infuriating.
And he got like, didn't the game end with like a 40-yard touchdown run from him or something like that, like near end? It was just a weird game where Buffalo ended up really backdoor covering as a favorite, which you don't see often. But yeah, so this game in particular, I would like to target the under because I have liked what I've seen from both defenses. I know Jacksonville didn't look great against Geno Smith at all, but their offense wasn't doing them any favors. Their offense was never on the field. So, I would expect it to be a little better here, and it's pushing me enough off this under, but I'll do like what I see from these defenses. I'll stay away though.
Yeah. God, let's get off this game. I was going to bring up something about, it's the worst feeling ever when you tell people that James Robinson's like the best play on the slate on these shows, and then he just goes down first quarter. I feel for myself.
I should say this too, because you did it and I do it, and I need to get better with this. Like when we're playing a bunch of teams, I just don't think we should really be ever all in on someone. And I do it all the time. And it's football. Like these guys get hurt too much. And we love to think of the spot. We don't like to hedge. We're not big hedgers. But man, like I think it's dumb to go all in on a spot, because if the dude gets injured, like And it happens too much. Like, we joke about it. Like, this guy could get injured. That guy, it happens every week, though. Like, I don't think we should go all in on people anymore. Unless you got, like, literally only 3 teams or something, then maybe you do. But anything more than 3 teams, like, I just don't think we should go all in on literally. The only exception, I think, would be just a total misprice. Like, a starting running back that's 4K or something, then you can do it. But any normal priced guy, I just don't think we should do it.
Yeah, I mean, you know me, I'm stubborn. I take my stances. I said it on the show. I said it on the other show we did. Like, I just I can't help myself.
It was a great sport.
Sometimes.
I mean, we both loved it. It was
I plant my
core
flag.
dude.
I had Jameis in my core. I had Traquan. I had James Robinson. I had so much of those guys. Like, I plant my flag on guys. I feel like that's why people, like, in ways, I feel like that's why a lot of our subs respect our takes in a way, is because they know, though, that we're going to actually take those type of stances. And it's one thing I've always done. Like, I don't know if I can change that, Tony. Like, when I make my teams, like, I don't think it's something. You're probably right, though. From a risk standpoint, we probably shouldn't go all in on anybody in football. Guys could get hurt on the first play. Like,
I'll tell you why I like it. With how top heavy some of these prize pools are, that approach of going all in on a player has got to be better ROI long term. I mean, as long as
it has to be,
because when you do get it right, you give yourself so much of a better shot at sitting at the top of those tournaments that you have all those lineups in. So, yeah, again, I don't have the exact numbers, but it almost feels.
The problem is you can get crushed multiple times in a year.
Oh, you go through a cooler. You go through a cooler for a long sustained time. You got to have the bankroll to be able to eat it. Yeah, for sure.
Exactly. That's it. But all right, let's go on to the next game. Okay, here we go. Denver Broncos, Dallas Cowboys. I'll eat my crow on Javonte in a sec. -9 for the Cowboys. 49.5 is the total here. This game's in Dallas. You know, Dunkel, we'll bring it to you first. Broncos have not looked great. I'm really pissed they didn't trade Melvin Gordon. They traded away Von Miller, who's their best defensive player probably. And, yeah, I'm just going to sit here and sulk that they didn't trade Melvin Gordon for my guy Javonte while you talk about this game.
Yeah, so this line's a bit odd to me, and I feel like we talk on this show how we've been bullish on Dallas all year. Like, there are certain teams where we'll make a stand and we'll say, this team's a facade or a flash in the pan. But this entire panel's like Dallas all year, even from the first, second game. Here, I don't understand this line. Like, I feel like it should be bigger, especially if we know we're getting Dak. I guess maybe that's still in question. But 9.5 for a team in Denver that looks like they've kind of just hung it up. I know it's early in the year, but this team, you give up Von Miller. There was some questionable. You guys saw the way that game ended last week with they were throwing the ball when they just needed to run clock to need the game out. It was just a weird sequence at the end. This team is in a weird funk where I'm not even sure they're trying to win games. I know they're only 4-4, but 9.5 just feels light. I mean, Dallas. This Denver defense, while it does have a bunch of good athletes on it, was proven to be a bit overrated, at least coming into the year. Called a slight lean, Dallas -9.5. This would definitely be, if this somehow got, some flavor of money to 8.5, I would definitely tease this down.
All right, Tony. Dunkel likes Dallas here in this spot. Obviously, Dak, we don't know. I mean, we assume he could be back this week, limited in practice here. I think he comes back. I think last week he probably could have pushed it, but they held him back for maybe a higher risk of re-injuring, just to be safe. So what do you think of this game? What do you think of the Cowboys here?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with the uncle, and all year long, I feel like every week we come on this show and say the Dallas line is wrong. I feel like the sports books just haven't caught up to Dallas. Sounds crazy, but like, these books just use computers too to set lines. And yeah, the betting sets the market too, but maybe they're just wrong on Dallas. Maybe they're not high enough on them like we are. And honestly, this is going to sound really crazy. People will laugh, but I don't think it's that bad if Dak doesn't play. We'll get a little bit better of a price, and I still think they roll either way. I think Denver's done. They made a trade. They look terrible. I don't like anything about Denver. We liked them to start the year. I'll take an L on Denver. I thought they were going to be good, and they started good, 3-0. And man, they have been maybe the worst team in football, honestly, since then. They have been awful every week. So I'm all over Dallas, and ODB kind of got me started with this during football, and it's helped me a lot. Like sometimes when it looks easy like this, I used to go the other way, and I just always play it now, and it's treated me really good this NFL season. If I like something, I just take it, and I don't have to overthink it. And I'm with Uncle. I like Dallas no matter what. I kind of hope they rule Dak out and we can get them -7 instead of -10 or whatever it's going to end up being. -6, -7 without Dak rather than 9 or 10 with Dak. I really don't care. I think they roll, and I like it. I can't wait till we get Javonte week at some point. We make fun of JSU, but only because Melvin Gordon gets half the carries. If Melvin's ever out of there, I'm going to be the first one in line with JSU to play Javonte. Problem is, he's going to get exactly half the work, and it's very frustrating. So you can't ever play him until he gets that full work. Yeah, I'm on Dallas though. DFS wise, I mean, you can play any of the Dallas guys really. If I had to run it back with someone, I guess it would be like Sutton or Judy might be a good play this week. Got one game under his belt. He's only 5K. Yeah, give me Judy for a little run back just because he's cheaper than Sutton. And I like Judy. He's explosive. He could take one to the house here.
Yeah, I'm a Judy guy. If you think that they probably play Cortland Sutton outside and they put Diggs on him, then Judy makes a lot of sense, inside with either Anthony Brown or Jordan Lewis, who definitely are not very good corners. So I could see the Judy play. And I like Dallas. I'm with you guys. I think the way to beat Denver is clear. You just run right through them. You just run. And Dallas has the team to do it. They got the running back. They got the offensive line. Little worrisome. Tyron Smith was nicked up in that last game. Came out. They're saying it's I think it's like an ankle spur or bone spur or whatever they said. Bone spur in the ankle or whatever. So the status for him is yet to be determined. So that would be a big loss for that offensive line just because he is so good. Like he's just so good. When he's out there, he makes things happen for sure for that run game. But I wouldn't mind some Zeke. I think Zeke's a really interesting play this week. So give me some Zeke. Don't forget, guys, hit that like button, that thumbs up, and then hit that red subscribe button at the bottom right-hand corner, right under Tony eating his pen. Make sure you hit that button so it gets you notified every time we go live for these free shows, which we do every week. And we do, sometimes multiple times in a day for NFL, NBA. Check us out for everything we got over there. Core plays, playbooks, all the premium content we got going on. RPS Heater 25 right now, 25% off your first month's payment. So check us out. Let's move on. We got the next game going, the Atlanta Falcons going up against the New Orleans Saints. Saints, obviously, disaster. Jameis Winston done for the year. Now they've got Taysom, who was in concussion protocol. I think the plan is he could be back. Maybe this week is the idea, officially limited in practice. It's saying concussion, so I don't know if he's fully gotten through it yet, but I think he could be. And then they got Trevor Siemian, obviously, who finished out the game against the Bucs and didn't look that great, but still somehow made it through there. Dunkel, what do you think of this game, the New Orleans QB situation in general?
Yeah, so I've dodged a decent amount of Falcons games, and I'm going to continue to do so. They're just a very tough team to figure out, and now no Ridley, at least for now, makes this even more complicated. Obviously, the Saints have their own issue. Now, the total is 42, which is, and I'm sure it's actually going to get lower because when you talk about the guys that are out, the Saints, who's even going to be throwing the ball for the Saints, there probably could be some value on the under, but I hate betting totals that low. So this is just an easy pass game for me, betting-wise.
Yeah, Tony, other fantasy things. Michael Thomas all of a sudden had an ankle injury, but then all of a sudden he was supposed to come back in a couple weeks, and then he just gets this mysterious ankle injury out of nowhere, and he's out for the year. I mean, is he avoiding our boy Taysom? What is he doing? Like he didn't want anyone but Jameis throwing him the football. What's up?
No, I mean, I don't even think he liked Jameis. The whole thing's been weird ever since last year when he had the whole mysterious fight or whatever. He was making fun of Drew Brees and Peyton, and the whole thing's been freaking weird. I honestly, like, it's been one thing I've been right about. I just have ignored him all. I just never considered him coming back. It's just one of those things where in my head, I just don't think he ever plays for the Saints again. It's just weird. Like something behind the scenes happened. And it's almost like the AB situation in Pittsburgh where it was just when it went wrong, it just went wrong. And I don't think it's going to come back. And who knows where he ends up, but I don't think it'll be for the Saints. And honestly, I don't care. I mean, get him out of there. I don't like when people do stuff like that. And yeah, I mean, Taysom, I hope he's good this week. He got crunched running a freaking out pattern a couple of weeks ago and hurt my feelings because he's my boy. But if he comes in at 5,500, I've talked about this Saints roster all year, how they have no receivers. They're really limited offensively, but I think they're built for Taysom because he can run it a little bit. He can spread it around on offense between all these crappy receivers. It hurts Kamara a ton, which I don't think people fully realize. He doesn't help Kamara at all. So Kamara will be a fade going forward for me as long as Taysom's in there, which probably is going to be the rest of the year. I'm guessing. I think he'll be the guy when he gets back from the concussion. If he goes down, though, the Saints are in very, very big trouble. But yeah, Taysom and the guy that he's loved. Again, Taysom's been my boy. I've watched him as close as anyone the last 4 or 5 years. Deontay Harris is his boy. Mark my words. Deontay is going to have some big games, probably starting this week. If I play Taysom, it's going to be with Deontay Harris because they got that deep ball chemistry, and I don't mind that combo at all. You can run it back with Pitts or Cordero. I like it. I mean, I feel good about it. I hope Taysom's in there because the good thing too. Just say I played Taysom. You could play Traquan too, but I like Deontay. You can even double stack it. Play Pitts back. You are so cheap in your whole stack that you don't even need that many points. That's where people get a little confused, I think, with the overall structure of lineups. Like if you get like 20 from Taysom, like 15 from these receivers that are 3,900, Pitts gets you 15 at a weak tight end. You're massive without guys going off, and you got all that salary for your other positions to get your upside. Get your upside from all the other spots. So I like it. I hope Taysom's good to go this week because I will definitely have no issue using him at 5,500.
Yeah, I figured you would like Taysom here. I figured that would be your boy. I tried to I hit the button, but didn't unclick my mute. So that's what happened. But I don't mind your Deontay Harris call. He came back. He played 32% of snaps. You would think with Taysom there, it would probably go up with their chemistry a little bit, like you talked about. But we'll see. Definitely big hit to Kamara. On top of that hit, Tony, I think another hit that people might not be even thinking of is the Mark Ingram back in the New Orleans because Kamara's snap count dropped to 67%. And before that, one of the things about Kamara that was great this year is he was playing a ton. He was on the field a ton, which was huge for him, playing 80+% of the snaps. If he's going down into that 60 category, that 60 to 70 range, on top of Taysom, he's going to need a few 1-yard touchdowns. And one thing Taysom does as well is he steals those. So, it's going to be a rough scene, I think, for
that's a good call you got. That's why I like doing this show. You guys bring up stuff. But Ingram, man, he's 4,600. It's almost the same point I was making about the Philly guy last week that was cheap. I mean, if Ingram gets 2 touchdowns, it doesn't matter what else he does. I mean, this game easily could be 4 touchdowns with Taysom getting 2 and Ingram getting 2. And both of them, I mean, you're paying $10K combined for 2 dudes. I mean, you're not paying any salary. You could have the whole offense between the 2 of them. I like Ingram. I like Ingram way better than Kamara.
Yeah, it's interesting. He comes right back in right away. He's playing 27%. They obviously like him. They wanted to trade back for him.
He fits the offense better than Kamara almost.
In a way, he does. And he'll get used in that Lat Murray role from last year. So that was a pretty decent role, if people remember, too. At times, Lat Murray was he got a good amount. So I definitely think it's not a bad call. From the Atlanta side, obviously, no one talked about it, but no Calvin Ridley. We're not going to see Calvin Ridley. Hope everything goes well with him. But, Kyle Pitts, he actually struggled a little bit more with that safety over the top. They were obviously eyeing him a little bit more, playing that bracket on him a little. I'm assuming teams are going to do that. Like, that's what's going to happen now. You're the number one guy. I talked about it a little bit with Calvin Ridley last year when Julio was out, saying how yes, the targets are going to go up, but the quality of target actually goes down. And I think that's what you see with those guys when they get in those positions. So yes, you can give him a bump, but it's not the type of bump I think people necessarily just see and go, oh, Kyle Pitts is just going to crush because there's no Ridley. It doesn't work that way. So just something for people to think about. Let's move on, though. Let's talk about the Las Vegas Raiders and the New York Giants. Vegas Raiders -3 here. This game is in New York. New York obviously played the Chiefs tough. Now, you can say what you want about the Chiefs. Yeah, they're still a pretty solid team here. Obviously, Super Bowl champs. And Giants played them hard. And the Giants are decimated. Like, you want to talk about a team? No Saquon. No Kenny Golladay. Shepard gets hurt. Are we sure those dudes
are going to be out, though?
Saquon's out. He's on the COVID list, I think.
Really?
I'm pretty sure Saquon's on the COVID list. Yeah. I think that was there – I don't know. Dunkel, I don't know if you know either, but didn't they have a few guys go on the COVID list, the Giants?
Yeah, I think. But I thought Saquon was COVID was a week over a week ago. But either way.
I think he's on the list. I think, yep, COVID-19 list.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean he's out, right?
Oh, okay. I guess he did test positive, though. So, he's not out. You're right. But he did test positive.
Yeah, and Saquon's vaccinated. He's not like a Team MAGA in Buffalo.
Okay.
The Rodgers story is funny, whatever we get to that game.
Let's not go there yet. We'll go there in a second. So what's the story exactly? If you're vaccinated,
I think you just need 2 negatives, as far as I know.
I think if you're vaccinated, you show 2 negatives, I think you can instantly come back.
But he still has the ankle issue to deal with when he comes back. Yeah. So either way, he's still – I'm going to put him as questionable to play. He's not out. But he's
questionable with the entire roster. You can just make the whole roster questionable.
Yeah. Okay. So what do we think of this? I mean, what to make of this Giants team here? And in my opinion, a pretty good spot against the Raiders. Tony, what do you think?
I mean, I hate the Raiders, so I think the Giants will be one of my favorite teams of the week. Not even to mention the Raiders. I mean, the Gruden and now the Ruggs. I mean, the dude is so last night I wasn't defending him, but I was like, the dude probably isn't going to do that much time, blah, 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 all this stuff. And then you find out today that the dude was going 154 freaking miles an hour in a residential area. And then you're like, oh, well, he is going to do a lot of time then, because that is just absolutely outrageous. Feel terrible for the victim, obviously. I mean, just absolutely no one should ever do anything like that. Absolutely. But this stuff has to weigh on the Raiders. Like, their coach, now this. I mean, I already didn't like him to begin with. So on top of all this stuff, as long as the Giants don't just have all of these guys out, which could happen, I think I'll like the Giants no matter what. I mean, unless just literally all of them are out and they have a skeleton, I still might like them. Honestly, I just think the Raiders are bad to begin with, in a really tough mental shape. And I think the Giants, I don't know. I'm kind of high on the Giants as far as the expectations. Like, people think they're terrible. I think I was on them versus the Chiefs, that they could have won outright. I just think they might be better than expectations. Yeah, they're not a playoff team. They're not great, but I like their players even a little bit. I mean, if Barkley's out, Booker's not much worse. I mean, he's okay, a similar price. Ingram's fine, finally caught a touchdown. These receivers, Slayton and Tony and Galladay, John Ross can catch a deep ball, even though I don't love him. Even if, say, you had to go down to like Colin Johnson at 3K, I've seen him be talented at the pass in time. So I'm going to be on this Giants team. I just don't like the Raiders. So I don't know. You're going to give me points at home, and this is a teaser game on top of it. So I'm going to tease it up through the 3 and the 7. Yeah, give me the Giants. And once we find out who's playing, like if these guys, Tony and Galladay, play, I'm going to be all over them. Even Slayton, I'll be all over. These guys are cheap, really cheap. I won't play Saquon probably because I don't, his ankle, COVID, all that. But if he's out, I like Booker too. So I guess in a perfect world, Saquon sits, everyone else plays, and we play a few of these guys for me. And I'm definitely going to bet them though.
Yeah, Dunkel, I see the Giants as just from a betting side, I see it as a great spot here at home. Even if these guys are out, they've shown that they can still do some things and keep games close with a bunch of these guys out. I mean, this team isn't, in my opinion, that bad.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I mean, to me, this is Giants or pass. I don't see how anybody is lining up to bet the Raiders. I mean, but let's add in the fact that this team's traveling east for a 1:00 game. You got all these narratives around this team, all these, non-football related issues with this team. Get in the end zone. There you go. Sorry, Northern Illinois needed that.
I like when Dunkel tells me to get, or tells him to get in the end zone. I like that. I don't normally see emotion from Dunkel on this show. It comes through like once in a while.
Yeah. There it was.
It's very rare. I like it.
But yeah, I think that for me, I don't see. I mean, it looks like the people are lining up to bet the Raiders because this line's moved from 2.5 to 3. I don't see it. I get it. You get a 5-2 team against a 2-5 Giants team. My only issue, of course, is with a line this small that will require more or less the Giants to likely win the game, which that's never fun with Daniel Jones. But yeah, there is a lot of issues here that to sift through. And overall, I think I'm with Tony here. Giants are pass. If I can get a better number, maybe even tease it, we'll do that. But other than that, this is likely going to be a target for me as well.
All right. So I'm going to talk about this from a DFS standpoint. God, so many questionable guys. I mean, Pettis, I forgot about him. He got injured. CJ Ward was already on. Yeah, Pettis he's going to be out. Sure, yeah. Shepard's already doubtful. He's going to be out. So, I mean, it's Tony. I think this is a great spot for Tony here. I think he's a great play. Devontae Booker has gotten work in the passing game. I hate Devontae Booker. I do not want to play him, but he is in a good spot. 6 targets last game with all these guys down. A good matchup against the Raiders too. Like he's going to get most of the work at running back. I don't hate the play. I think on the other side too, I don't think that this game is I think it's a close game. I think the Raiders, like Josh Jacobs, I think they lean heavily on the run. Josh Jacobs is going to be back. So I think he's in play. One thing that definitely takes a hit is that deep ball. Derek Carr I think he's a very good deep ball passer. I think he's very accurate. There's not many people to throw that deep ball to anymore. Henry Ruggs was that deep ball threat. He's gone. And there's just not one guy who's going to fill that role. Hunter Renfrow is a possession receiver, get the first down, 3rd and 6. You can look there. Edwards, an outside guy, you can use him in the goal line. But, I mean, who's the guy that steps up for the Ruggs spot? I think it might be Zay Jones. He's probably only a Millie Maker play, but at 3K, they love Zay Jones. Tony, I've said this to you before. They really like this kid. Derek Carr loves him. He talks about how whenever he needs to throw, Zay Jones is the first person there with him at 6 a.m. He's always down to catch, and Carr loves him. The coaching staff does too. I think Zay Jones might actually see work in this game. So I'm not throwing it. I'm just going to throw it out there. Millie Makers only, but someone to look at, So just I think this is a good fantasy game, though. I think we see points scored.
I mean, they're gonna throw it on the Raiders side too. So I mean, you got these guys that haven't been as much in play, like Brian Edwards, that he just has to see a spike. There's no way he doesn't versus the Giants. So I mean, I agree with you.
They've been trying to get him involved a little bit too. He's been a little unlucky with some of it, but he got in the box last game. Maybe that sparked something too, a little. Also now though, you got to remember a lot of those big passing plays, they were designed to get Ruggs the football down the field. Now they're going to have to be designing plays for, Renfro and Edwards. At least they get Waller back though. That'll help. So let's move on though. Enough talk about this game. Let's go to the Minnesota Vikings and the Baltimore Ravens. Ravens -6, 50 is the total. Dunkel, what are we liking for bets?
Yeah, interested to see where this line moves later in the week. Strong lean Vikings at 6. This has more to do with the Kirk Cousins lack of primetime window. This is his bread and butter, this time slot, and his against the spread numbers are incredible in this same time slot. Now the Ravens are coming off a bye, and they seem to have kind of figured things out, right? Whether it was offensively and even defensively, with some good games in there. I think that my issue though is really this is a number. If this can somehow get to 7, if I can get 7 with Kirk Cousins at 1:00 on the road, really against anybody, I'd almost be okay to take it. However, me as a Vikings fan, it's been tough to watch this team. They continue to trip over themselves late in games. But I guess, par is, or such is life with Zimmer and Kirk Cousins together here. But needless to say, yes, I like the Vikings. I think this is a big number, and I think it's a little too big. But I do think if I wait, I might even maybe get a better number. So yeah, for me, it's dog or pass here. Strong lean Vikings.
All right, strong lean on the Vikings. Tony, what do you got for us here? You like the Vikings too?
Man, the Vikings freaking sucked on whatever primetime. Who'd they just play? Was it Dallas?
They played Dallas.
I mean, versus the backup quarterback, they need a new coach too. These teams that have these defensive coaches, I mean, Minnesota, I'm not a Cousins fan at all, but I mean, if you got Jefferson and Thielen and Cook and Madison and tight ends that are somewhat adequate and you just don't do anything with it year after year after year, you just got to change something. And these players are too good to not be better than they are. And it just comes down to coaching. If you got players that are good and you just don't, it's just a coach. There's no one else to blame. Like if Urban Meyer coached Minnesota, I'd be all on board with freaking JSU butchering them because they have players and they should be better. Like it's embarrassing. These guys are too good to be as bad as they are. And I'm not super high on Baltimore. I think this game, I don't know. This is a tricky game for me because there's a lot of pieces in it. People are always going to like Lamar and these guys. Marquise Brown. I like Marquise Brown every week. Bateman's still cheap. He's looked good. Andrews, the Minnesota. Like this game, I think has to end up pretty popular. You just look at a lot of the spots. There's just a lot of ways to go. But I don't know. Both teams kind of they're okay. Like if Minnesota can hang around, they like to play pretty slow because, just like I said, they're poorly coached. I mean, Baltimore's okay running the ball here and there. So I don't know. In my head, I feel like this game might be a little trappy. I do feel like it could play slower than people think. I might even like the under in this game. I don't know. It's definitely tricky because there's a lot of good skill players in this game. One sneaky guy, too. I do like Tyler Conklin versus Baltimore. I've been trying to pick on Baltimore a little bit with guys like this. He's only $3K, fits the mold. I don't mind him as a sneaky little play too, but I don't know. I feel like this game might play slower than people think.
Yeah. So I just don't know why DraftKings can't price Marquise Brown up. The guy had 14 targets.
They want me to play him every week.
They want us all to play him every. This is the guy they want me to just lock him in all my builds. Yeah. And he's going to drop 3 touchdowns like he did the last time I did this. So the guy is one of right now. I mean, he's playing so well with Lamar. He's had a couple bad weeks, but I think some of them were results of him actually dropping touchdowns, literally. 14 targets, though, against Cincinnati. Comes back 6K against Minnesota, who's got, I mean, Brashad Breeland is going to cover him for 50% of his routes on the right side, he's going to eat up Breeland. Breeland is awful. And then they got Cam Dantzler on the other side, Patrick Patterson. He's been injured. I don't know his status. I'm assuming he's still going to be out. But either way, I mean, it sets up for Bateman and Marquise Brown to have good games. I'm assuming, though, like you, Tony, like Lamar is always popular.
Yeah.
I hate playing Lamar if he's going to be like chalk. If he's not, though, I wouldn't mind it. And then maybe that's where you could run it back with like your boy, like Tyler Conklin, get like a cheap tight end there. But
the good thing, sometimes I swear we overthink quarterback, and I put myself at the front of the list. Like, I just feel like I overthink quarterback too much with the stuff. Like, people always just play Lamar. He always gets 27. And I always spend so much time like figuring out how to beat him when we could just play him and just, you know what, take the thought out of it. Yeah, he let us down the week versus the Chargers, but only because it was a blowout. If that game stays close, he crushes. He just always gets there.
The thing is, I guess the days it has a downer, you're just pissed at yourself. But if you played him like all the time, you're
happy way more than you're not.
Yeah, exactly. You're just way happy.
And we get let down anyways with, like, I had Mahomes the one week. Everyone lets you down here and there. So I don't know. I think quarterback, we overthink more than any other position because, like, just say you locked in, say for the last 3 years, you locked Lamar just every week, just every single week, you locked him in. You didn't overthink. You didn't think stacks. You just locked him in there. I think you'd be way happier than the decisions we've made at playing quarterbacks. Honestly, like, there hasn't been many weeks where he hasn't at least given you a chance to ship.
And I'll say I like both his pass catchers. I mean, even Mark Andrews obviously can throw in that mix, but like, yeah, it's just a spot where I'm gonna want to play some of these receivers. So maybe
they have
I should
no running backs
Lamar
on top of it too. Like, it's it's not talked about as much as it should be. They don't have running backs. So the only way Lamar's not getting there is literally what happened versus the Chargers, where they won by 100 points. That's the only way he's not getting there.
Yeah, that makes sense. The question is, can Kirk Cousins in that offense keep it interesting? Can they score? And can they make it a back and forth game? If they can, man, Lamar's gonna he should.
We talked about Baltimore's secondary all year, right? Like, they can't guard. I don't think. I think their secondary is very overrated, and
they're just overly aggressive, and so at times it can put them in bad spots where they get beaten. But I feel like it's more of just that's how they play. They just play that type of aggressive style of football. They're gonna blitz. They're going to have man-to-man a lot. They ask a lot of their corners, obviously. And Jefferson and Thielen, those are tough guys to match up with. We'll see what they end up doing, but I think they can be beat. You're right. Let's go, though. Let's talk about I want to talk about these guys. Let's talk about the Browns and the Bengals here. I know Tony's Bengals, JSU's Browns. Bengals have looked good up until last week where I don't know what happened. It was just a letdown spot. The Jets, they were completely looking past the Jets to the Browns. Let's be honest here. They were worried about Baker Mayfield and his bum ass shoulder, and Odell not playing over the Jets and Mike White. They didn't even know who Mike White was until he probably, got there and saw the name on the back of his jersey. So I'm just going to throw that game out the window for the Bengals. Like, it didn't even happen because it means nothing to me. JJ, what do you think here, though? Line's 2.5. Bengals are favored. 46.5 is the total.
Yeah, strong lean Bengals. I think we talked about it last week on the show. This Bengals team is super young, right? It's hard to kind of get up for a game on the road against the Jets after you just won arguably your biggest win of some of those guys' careers with the way they blew out the Ravens. Turning around here, though, I continue to say, like, I think Case Keenum is better for this offense than Baker Mayfield. I know Baker Mayfield's not 100%, but it just, like, he struggles to move the ball downfield. He takes a lot of unnecessary sacks. He does too much too much Mahomesing, I'll call it, where he's running around behind the line of scrimmage, but he it never really amounts to anything. And I just think Case Keenum's just a smarter quarterback and better for what they're trying to do. But yeah, in this game here, yeah, I think Cincinnati is very live to win this division this year. I think they're very live to host a few home games this year in the playoffs. They are young. That's their biggest issue. And you saw that against the Jets. Will they be able to be outcoached and outmatched here against better personnel? Maybe. But I think Jamar Chase is a good look here on a bounce back or in a bounce back spot because I do think points are coming in this game. And Cincy is a tough team to beat, and back-to-back losses would be hard to believe from this squad as well. Call it a lean, lay the 2.5 Cincinnati.
Yeah, Tony, I want to give my take last year on the Browns because I got some things to say. So I will let you speak on this game first. Your Bengals have been good this year. Outside of really last week where they looked really bad. But it's just, again, I don't know about you, but I just throw it out. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, it's a week-to-week league. Their offense still looked decent. They just didn't show up on team. By the time they realized they were in a dogfight, it was too late. Just like all the like trappy spots. By the time you realize that you could lose, it's too late. I mean, you're still playing professionals. The Jets still have. I mean, we've been on Michael Carter all year, so I wasn't surprised at all about him. But I don't know. We've had the joke on the show the whole year about the Browns team. I just don't like the Browns, and now Beckham's getting asked to stay home. Man, I mean, Hunt's hurt. Chubb obviously is the man. The running game is going to be the key for the Browns, like always. It's just simple for me. Like I look at the rosters, I think the Bengals are better at every single spot except maybe up front, O-line. Obviously the Browns O-line we like. But man, these skill guys, like Mixon is just as good as Chubb, if not even better. I mean, if they flip teams, Mixon would be unstoppable in that offense. So I don't know. Like I think they're better at every position. I think Baker sucks. The only way the Browns can win this game is if they just crush them on the ground, which they could, because the Bengals have struggled against running backs. I mean, Carter just destroyed them last week. I just think it was a trap game last week. They're undefeated in the division, and I think they make another statement and really handle Cleveland in this game. But fantasy-wise, I think this game could play slow, somewhat slow. Cleveland can't throw the ball. I don't see them throwing the ball under any circumstances. So if they want to run the ball, the clock's going to run. The Bengals, I think, are okay with running it a little bit too, even though they've played faster this year. I don't know. Fantasy wise, I'm not Jamar Chase at 7,600. I just can't do it. I love Jamar Chase. One of my favorite players already living in Cincy, but I can't pay 7,600 for Jamar Chase against Cleveland. I just don't think I can do it. And I mean, T. Higgins and Boyd, both cheap. I could play them. Mixon, I could play. Chubb, I could even play at 6,700 in this game. But yeah, give me the Bengals. I could play Cleveland though in teasers, 2.5 long teasers. We make jokes about it, but through the 3 and 7, it could even be a game where I bet the Bengals and tease the Browns and have a little 2.5 to 8.5 middle, because I think the Bengals probably do win in that margin.
All right. So, my Browns. I've talked about them all year.
They're your version of my Colts. Like, they're going to hurt your feelings like the Colts hurt my feelings.
This is the worst ever, because watching that game last week and just watching what they did. I'm sorry. You can't have Nick Chubb in a close game and give him the ball. So that dude needs to touch the ball 25 times. It should have been a friggin' rule. They lost that game. They did not lean on their strength, which was the run. They leaned on friggin' a broken Baker Mayfield, who's already not that great to begin with. The Baker is strong off the play action when the run game is flowing. And that's when he's healthy. The dude is not healthy. He shouldn't even be out there probably. Dunkel's probably right in that point, which is Case Keenum right now is better than him. He just is. Maybe a healthy Baker. Healthy Baker is probably better than Case Keenum. But this Baker is not. It's bad. It's hard to watch. I like Cincy in this spot. I think this is Cleveland showed me nothing against the Steelers to make me think that they're going to be. The Steelers are not a good team. They're a bad team, in my opinion. I think they're a bad team.
Yeah, they are a bad team. There's no opinion to
lose,
it. They definitely suck. They're cheap.
You cannot lose that game. Like that game, you need to win somehow. It can be a dogfight, whatever. You need to win that game. You lost.
We've come full circle, Tony, with JSU.
Where's ODB?
We've come full circle.
I will say though, this team is still not a bad team. It's just the quarterback is messed up. Since he's got a better quarterback, since his defense is playing better, Cleveland's defense is actually playing worse. They're getting hammered. Wide receivers are destroying them, by the way. Like some of these wide receiver games they're giving up, it's kind of wild. So I think Jamar Chase or T. Higgins or, one of those guys is probably going to have a big game here. Joe Burrow is just clearly the alpha dog in this spot, and you got to roll with it. As sad as that is to say, no Cleveland Browns this week for old JSU. JSU's off the bandwagon this week. I hope I can get on at some point. Hopefully they can show it to me and I can get back on at some point. So I'll be back. Cleveland, don't worry. Tony, you want to say anything before I move on?
No.
Was that satisfying enough for you?
Yeah, I did enjoy it.
Okay. I'm glad you enjoyed it. All right, let's go to the Houston Texans, Miami Dolphins. Dolphins -6.5 here. 46.5 is the total. Dunkel, Tua is one of those quarterbacks that I've just never believed in. I never liked. I really thought that we were going to also see a Deshaun Watson trade. Didn't happen. But what do you think of Miami Tua against Houston?
I still believe, despite Houston's first win, I still think this is at least the first or second, worst team in the NFL. The Lions for me are in there. The Jags aren't. The Jags are a little behind them, but so yeah, this looks like a big line, but I think every point's warranted. Yes, it is tough to go to the window and lay 6.5 with Miami, but at least this team's shown some bright spots. They've shown some flavors of consistency on offense at times. Houston has shown that they can score touchdowns when they're down 5 touchdowns. They did it against the Niners when they were down 5 touchdowns. They started scoring, and the Rams this week. That might wind up being, by the way, one of the most wild backdoor covers this year. I think the Rams were up 38-3.
They were literally pounding them.
38-3, and Houston backdoor covered like 2 touchdowns.
It happened to the Rams again last week, right? I don't know if the cover happened, but they let like 3 late touchdowns again. I'm pretty sure, or was that a different team?
No, I do think they had a minor scare. Them or some team the last week where they had a big lead, and definitely
the Rams. So let me see the Rams schedule. Did they do it?
Definitely
they might be our team. Yeah, the Texans scored. They were up 38-0, and the Texans scored 22 straight in the fourth. The line had to be around 16. What was the number?
It was 16. That's what. Yeah, that was this game this past.
So
week.
2 times this year they've done that.
Yeah, the line. Well, because the Lions did. Well, I'm confusing the Lions with them, but yeah, it's been kind of silly. But yeah, again, the Texans showed that against the Niners as well, and I think that this team just doesn't move the ball on offense. And the Dolphins are a lot of things, but at least they do play decent defense. Also, Flores' job is now all of a sudden he's kind of like on the hot seat out of nowhere. So this is an important game to show that this team can actually win a game. So I do like the Dolphins in this spot as a small favorite. If I had the balls, I'd take them in Survivor. I'll see how I feel later in the week because I still have the Bills I can pick in all my leagues. But yeah, ultimately, to me, in this spot, it's favorite or pass because you're not going to get too many opportunities this year where the Texans are going to be less than a touchdown underdog.
Yeah, I see some questions in the chat. Is Tyrod coming back? I don't think they've spoke on it. The last thing from an update I'm reading is that David Cawley says that he's day to day. They don't want to win. So It wouldn't shock me if they kept him out again for this week 9 matchup. And then I think they have a bye in week 10 or after week or week 11. It's either week 10 or week 11. So it would make sense for them to just keep him out until after the bye. Because again, they don't want to win games. Like they're definitely trying to lose games. So I don't know. Maybe he'll be back. Maybe he won't. We'll have to see on that. Tua is questionable though. Just to throw that out there. Tony, any DFS thoughts from this game?
I'm just refreshing my sheet. What the Rams, right? What were we on?
Houston and Miami.
Oh, Houston. Why was I talking about the Rams then? Dunkel
The Rams play Sunday night. I don't know why.
Weren't you just talking about the Rams? Am I losing my mind?
I was
not.
I did bring up the Rams.
Oh God, I was like looking for the Rams on my freaking browser, and I'm like, who the hell did the Rams play? And okay, so yeah, Houston, Miami. Yeah, if Tyrod somehow plays, I mean, I do have a little more interest in this game just because both defenses have got destroyed. And man, Brandon Cooks was tilting last week too because I finally stopped playing him, and he got the late garbage just dump offs, and I think he did score a touchdown, and finally got off him, and it did tilt me very, very badly that he got 20 points when he didn't deserve it. But this game, I think this game is somewhat sneaky from a Miami perspective, where you got some of these guys like Waddle and Parker, Gesicki. Houston is bad. I mean, they're very bad, and no one's going to play these guys. And anytime you can get a full stack against Houston, I think you have to at least think about it. But then it goes back to my point where that's why I like doing these shows. Like, if I can just play Lamar and take my 27 and move on, why am I trying to make it happen with Tua? It just feels bad. Like, if I want to get exposure to this game, just play like one of the weapons with a Lamar team, and you have so much less risk. Sure, maybe the day Tua goes off, you lose a little bit of equity there. But long term, I just think you're way, way better off just not gambling. So maybe I'll just play like one of these weapons, play Waddle or Gesicki. I mean, tight end's been so bad this year with Kelsey being bad. Gesicki at 4,900, always in play. I mean, last week we had people talking up David Johnson. What a world. There will always be edge in DFS if people are talking up David freaking Johnson's dusty cheeks ass. I mean, oh my God, how could you play that guy? But never. I mean, as far as betting too, I would have to take Miami. I think they actually showed a little something last week. Like Uncle said, the Buffalo score was not what it could have been. I mean, Miami played them pretty tough. I think they might just pound this Houston team who just isn't any good at all besides Brandon Cooks. So yeah, give me what's the line in this game?
6.5.
Ah, man, I wanted it to be a teaser game. If it gets above 7, I'll tease it. Stay 6.5. I can't do it. I can't go against my rules. But yeah, I like Miami. I like one or two pieces from this game.
Yeah, I mean, the one good thing with Tua and Miami, I mean, look at these pass attempts for Tua and Miami, 47, 40, 39 the last 3 games. I mean, they're throwing the ball a ton. They kind of have to. They put themselves in those spots, but Tony thinks they pound them. I don't know. I mean, like, Miami's a decent team, I guess. I don't know, though, if they're going to pound them. Houston will play teams tough at times, so I think it's a decent game for fantasy, though. Like, do I think I hate Tua as a real life quarterback? I do not think he's good. I think he struggles throwing to the outside. He lofts the ball too much. It's just the arm strength's not there for me. That's why, though, guys like Jalen Waddle, Mike Gesicki, those inside line receivers, he always targets those guys more. He's just always looking for those guys lined up inside. It's easier to get the ball to them. So for me, if I'm going to play someone, it's going to be one of those two guys. I guess if I was double stacking, Parker would be in play, but I don't know if I'll get the Tua here. It might just be, like Tony said, getting some Tua by playing a Gesicki in my tight end spot or a Jalen Waddle, something like that. So I don't mind that there. Houston, I have a tough time playing anyone. I mean, Nico Collins, 3,600. They got a bunch of guys there. Maybe if like Conley, he's limited in practice, so he'll probably play. Yeah, it's a tough team to pick guys from. Let's go on here.
Who is this dude in the chat too? Pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson has typed in like 7,000 messages. Who are you, pocket quarterback Lamar Jackson? Thanks for hanging out, but man, you have posted quite a few messages.
He obviously thinks Lamar Jackson is a good pocket quarterback.
Whew. I don't know about that take.
Watch out, he's going to send about 10 more messages.
Pocket passer.
Watch out, he's about to send like 20 more messages.
We're going to play him. I just gave the speech to play him every week, but it isn't because he's sitting in that pocket. I'll tell you that much.
No, I can't play Burkhead. Pocket quarterback Lamar.
Oh, God, Burkhead. Woo, I'd rather play David Johnson.
I'd rather not play
I just gave the David Johnson speech.
How can you're right, pocket quarterback Lamar, you're always here. I'll give him credit for that. I've seen him in all these show chats, so we appreciate you hanging out with us for sure. And don't forget, hit that thumbs up, hit that subscribe button at the red right-hand corner, that red subscribe button. If you're new here, helps you get notified every time we go live for these free shows. Let's go, though. I'm done talking Houston here. Let's talk the Chargers and the Eagles. Chargers here, -2 against the Eagles. 50 is the total. I'm just going to tell you right now, -2. Everybody, take your money. Go to the window now. Bet the Chargers against the Eagles. I mean, it is – I don't care if it's like the biggest fish play ever. It is the easiest spot in all. I might do the betting thing just so I can bet this spot and put everything I have on the Chargers against the Eagles.
Oh.
The Eagles are awful. I mean, just so bad. Okay, Dunkel, tell me why I'm wrong.
Okay, so you're not wrong. The Eagles are not nearly as good as some people might think. And Jalen Hurts still can't throw an accurate football. They won that game by that many points. What was it, 44-6, something like that? And Jalen Hurts had an awful game. I mean, like he barely did anything. They won with their defense. They won with some good runs. Boston Scott scored twice. Tony's boy. I was up with some call last week.
Thank you, Dunkel. Yeah.
Although Tony tried to make fun of me. Hold on, Tony tried to make fun of me because I said the reason why I didn't play him was because they played 3 running backs, and Tony goes, "Who was the third?" Well, the third guy was this guy named Kenneth Gainwell. He saw 20 snaps. Boston Scott saw 29. Boston Scott saw 29, and Jordan Howard
tell me fourth quarter snaps, JSU, since you're going to prove the point.
You
don't care. It was 44-6. He wasn't going to play.
3 people, and your guy fell in the end zone twice. He wasn't even Tony. He got 2.
JSU.
He got Jordan Howard scored 2 touchdowns. What happened?
I called that too. I called that.
Only Tony can call a Jordan Howard and a Boston Scott. I know you did. I'm saying only you could get this right, where you get 4 touchdowns from your friggin' running back.
When JSU's $4,800 running back gets him 2 points.
Thank you, Dunkel.
He just kind of laid it up. When Big T's $3,000 running back goes for 8x.
Thank you. He just gave me no respect for it. It was very hurtful all week.
Terrible. I'm going to keep going. Terrible play. Boston
don't get him.
Scott.
Stop.
Terrible play. Boston Scott. Oh, God, you got so lucky.
The worst part is, this is the funniest part, Dunkel. He was an even better play than JSU even realizes. If it wasn't a blowout, he would have done even better. Is the worst part. I got unlucky. God, I swear I did.
You got unlucky?
Gainwell played the whole fourth quarter.
Jalen Reagor should have scored a touchdown. Boston Scott fell in the end zone.
The reason my guy crushed was Jalen Reagor didn't do something.
No, I will tell you right now, the reason why you crushed, for some reason, Philadelphia finally realized it took Miles Sanders getting hurt to finally realize they needed to run the football. like friggin' 40 or 50 times. And you take out the best running back you have, and then you finally realize, like, oh, maybe we should. Jalen Hurts sucks. He's not accurate. We should run the football more.
I love that JSU's like, you need to run the ball like 50 times. Who the fuck is running the football 50 times in an NFL game?
The Browns.
I swear they did. How many?
I want to be a Dunkel gang up on JSU. That's my favorite.
I want to see how many rush attempts they actually had.
Oh.
Boston Scott had 12. Let's see.
The type of time of possession you needed to favorite football 50 fucking times.
No, I'm just looking though. 13. Okay, so 30. They had 37 rush attempts. Like oh Jesus, 37. Got split up.
They probably literally
easy.
ran the ball every time in the second half, though.
Oh, I mean, they were running the ball all friggin' game. They just so easy.
I love the dynamics that even Tony, you even take it a step further where you got 8x from him and you're like, I got unlucky.
I fully believe it too.
He says he got unlucky with 18.
He didn't play the whole fourth quarter.
He was splitting time with Jordan Howard.
Okay, well, at least thank you for at least saying it was just the one and not adding your little third running back clarification in there. That's acceptable. Say they're sharing time. I agree with that.
Kenneth Gainwell didn't see that much time in the first 3 quarters.
Now I'm okay with the argument. Now I feel better about it.
Yes.
Yeah, sure. This has been a rough show for you. You've backpedaled on the
Dunkles. I love teaming up with Dunkel versus JSU.
But I can't lie to people. See, I'll stand my ground. I can't lie when I see something in the Browns.
Howard? No, on the wood, I said Howard will score 2 touchdowns today.
Finally, get him on this. Yeah, Todd, tell him. I love it when the chat gets on Big T, calling him out for his bullshit that he spews. He got you. Todd Strong told you. I don't even know if he's right.
Todd Strong's definitely another Mangone burner. I mean, these just continue to pile into these.
Are you kidding me? No one rides Big T shaft more than Mangone. Mangone's like, oh, Big T, you like Jordan Howard this week? Oh, guys, guess who I like as a sneaky play? Jordan Howard. You guys like Jordan Howard? Yup, me and Big T are on that one. We're riding together on that one, baby. Check it out. I love you, Mangone. I really do. I love Mangone.
One big happy family. Just one big happy family.
But if I can't,
did you know what you were going to do bringing that up? You knew you were poking some fire, didn't you? Yes. You had to hear us talking trash about this.
It was worth the price of admission.
It was an electric point.
It was an electric point.
I wouldn't have been fired up but you literally shit on me on the up to lock.
You need to get on Boston Scott. This is a good spot against the Chargers. They play that 2D. Yeah, come on, get on some Boston Scott here. 5.2K.
I do like him.
On him. Okay,
I'm going to. I'm definitely going to play him.
Yeah, talk about him.
One thing we need to talk about. We talked all this nonsense, but what's wrong with our Chargers? We've all been on the Chargers. Man, they have laid back-to-back total stink bombs where they just looked bad. And what's going on with them? They're our boys. What are they doing here, Dunkel?
I think it's really started with their offense. I think Herbert's looked a little confused out there on many different plays. I don't know if he's having issues with his reads because he's got the arm talent, but he's also been like missing a lot of passes, a little bit of happy feet as well. It's just been weird watching this offense. I think the defense has been what we've expected, but their offense was what was very much so overachieving. And that's the question now, right? Is what we saw, is there some medium between what we saw earlier in the year and recently and what the Chargers actually are? Or are these just 2 bad games and they'll go back to being what they were earlier in the year? It's tough to say, but Herbert's got to figure things out because he had some MVP potential earlier in the year, but he's kind of slowly fizzled.
My guy Derek in the chat just comes right at Big T hates animals. Don't let him forget it. He's right. Big T hates dogs. And just so everyone knows, So everyone knows I'm putting it out there on the world. Big T does not want a dog. His daughter wants a dog really bad. Can you imagine? His daughter asked for a dog for Christmas, and he shit on her and said no. He just said straight up. He said, "No, honey, we can't get one of those. Nope, too much work." Are you kidding? Come on, Big T. You got. I gave in. I got a dog. He's the best dog. He's the man. It's the best thing I ever did. I hope she's not listening right now because I also gave her a ring. But best thing I ever did was get a dog. Love my dog. Love you too, honey. But yeah, I mean, you gotta cave at some point. You gotta get one of these. They're just the best. But literally, like he hangs out with me all night. We watch winners together. We sweat out the games. I mean, my fiance doesn't watch winners with me. She goes to bed.
Yeah.
Don't you want one of those? Don't you want someone to sweat out the games with you? Your kids are young, so they're not sweating winners with you. They got to go to bed.
Pretty good. Just actually like taking a gummy and watching my own winners by myself. Okay, I'm okay with that.
Okay, me and Reds do like the high fives when our guys
high five.
Well. Yeah, oh yeah, my dog knows how to high five. Yeah, he knows how to get up on the shoulders. He'll give me the high five. Yeah, we got some tricks. Dunkel, do you have a dog, Dunkel? I never asked you. I don't think.
I had a Pomeranian for 3 years. I did my buddy a favor and looked after it. Yeah, I'm a cat guy. So.
Oh, now that's a spicy take. A cat guy. I didn't see that coming.
I grew up my whole life with cats. Don't mind dogs. Don't mind dogs. But I mean, I just prefer cats. They're easier. They're low maintenance.
Do you have a cat, Dunkel? Like, do you have a cat?
She's allergic to like most animals.
Okay.
Hyperallergenic. But
yep.
So we'd have to get a specific type of either cat or dog. Actually, she's probably allergic to most all cats with the way their fur is. But there's a few dogs that she can get. But yeah, we haven't crossed that bridge yet.
All right, cool. All right. So anything else here from the Chargers game? Tony, do you want to talk about the Philly running backs for real? Who do you like for DFS?
So across my Twitter timeline too, it just came across Justin Herbert limited with a right hand injury. Like what? He's hurt with his right hand?
Well, maybe that's what's wrong with our boy. He might have a right hand issue.
I mean, that definitely makes me more concerned about the Chargers. I mean, that's obviously his throwing hand, and he's been bad the last 2 weeks. Oh, this line looks weird to me. I have a hard time with this game. I was huge on the Chargers. They have let me down the last couple of weeks. In the Eagles, I don't know. I kind of like the Eagles in this spot. I might have a contrarian take. I do like Boston Scott, though. All jokes aside, I like Boston Scott a ton this week.
Quote from Tony earlier in the show. My guy ODB taught me that
not every game
just looks this easy. You just take it.
It doesn't look easy to me, though. That's the point. It doesn't look easy to me.
God, you have way more trust in Jalen Hurts and this Philly team than.
Oof. I got trust in my boy Boston Scott. Woo!
Okay. All right.
Can't wait to play him.
I think what's going to happen is I think the Chargers are going to force Jalen Hurts to be accurate in that short to intermediate throwing, well. And I think it's not going to work out well. I think they're going to force him to do that to kind of pick them apart down the field to beat them. And I think he's going to struggle to do that. He's going to struggle to be accurate. But maybe they have success in the run game. If they do, obviously it would be a big boost for Hurts. But I don't know if that's going to happen here. I like the Chargers. From a fantasy side, though, I don't like this. I don't understand either. Like, Kenneth Gainwell was the second guy for sure in this backfield. And then all of a sudden it's Scott and it's Howard. Like, not even Gainwell is the second guy. It's Howard. I don't get it. So I'm just staying away from it. I get the spot's good. You clearly saw Scott and Howard be the two main guys they were using for most of that game. I get going right back. I'm just staying away. Dunkel, do you like this game at all? Or is this like a past DFS game?
Yeah, DFS wise, I haven't dug in as much for what I would find from this game, but yeah, I think this is your spot to go naked Hurts. I think you could do the interesting thing with the Eagles from a GPP perspective is you could definitely see a scenario where each week you have literally players that are super live for you to win a lot of money because Jalen Hurts has his games where he gets two in the box. And obviously we saw what they did with the Lions where they split up the carries. And you got to figure one of these games, one of these pass catchers is going to have a great game. Goddard's been getting there. Devontae Smith, you feel like's got a big catch coming for 60, 70 yards, something like that. I would prefer the Eagles side of things here. It's just a matter of I would split it up. They're a tough team to stack for obvious reasons, but I think I do think they're favorable here to score points. I think the Chargers have had a bit of the yips, and why would we target a team like that?
Yeah, it makes sense. I do think though the run game is where you would target. Like Philly has not been good stopping the run. It could be a big Austin Eckler game. I don't know what the ownership's going to shake out to be. I don't know if he's popular, if he's popping or whatever for teams, but I may have some Austin Eckler love in this spot here. I know he's expensive, but I think it's a good spot for him. We'll see as we get closer to Sunday. Let's move on, though. We got 2 more games to talk about in this main slate. We'll go with the Arizona Cardinals and the San Francisco 49ers. Close spread here, -1.5. Cardinals are favored. 45 is the total. I think AJ Green earlier today got popped on the COVID list, so we'll have to see on him. I don't know his status, so I don't know if he's just officially out or if he's out, but he could end up playing by Sunday. We'll see. But Kyler Murray, I think the big question with him is really how injured is he? Is he going to play? He didn't practice on Wednesday. Now, Wednesday, they could have just gave him the rest, but he's got an ankle issue. I think they assume he's going to play. I think they said something along the lines of like, he should be good for Sunday, but we still don't know. Dunkel, what do you think on this game?
Yeah, a lot of question marks. Murray can't be 100% healthy. There are various injuries in this game in general. Debo, well, credit to him. He's had an incredible season. I don't think he gets enough love in like the wide receiver conversation this season. At least I know it's early in the year, but he's had a tremendous year.
Doesn't he just feel like he always busts like a 70-yard reception?
Yeah, it feels like
doesn't it feel that way?
It just feels like it's been once a week you've gotten that big, whether it was a wide receiver revert. It just seems like he's in open field a few times a game. So yeah, kudos to him on the improvement. And the 49ers have been dealing with injuries too, and they've just kind of dealt with it. They're 3-4, which isn't where they want to be right now, but I'm sure it could be worse. Looking for their first home win. Here's the thing with this game. To me, this is all on Murray's health, and I just don't think you can be betting comfortably Cardinals games right now. I don't think he's 100% healthy, and it makes it difficult for you to handicap because this would be a spot where I would say, Garoppolo is probably going to make a mistake or two, and this is a smart spot to take the Cards at this small number. But Murray is clearly just not himself, and it looks like they're really, and I said this before, it looks like they're really trying to hold him back from running for obvious reasons to keep him healthy. But yeah, either way, call it I won't even say small because I can't bet the Cardinals because I don't know Murray's health. So yeah, it's a pass for me.
Tony, the Kyler thing is really throwing a hamper in how I feel about this game because I think Dunkel's right. I think he actually is kind of injured. I know you said pretty much to start the year, the dude always gets injured. We finally got to this point where Cardinals are kind of rolling as a team, and then Kyler's injured. Here we go.
Yeah, I just have never bought into them. I know they were undefeated. I know they beat my Rams that game. I just fully believe in the Rams way more than them, even though they got blown out. I think it's more sustainable with what they got going. I just look at this team. Hopkins pissed me off last Thursday night. I played big for Showdown because I was in Miami with those guys doing the stuff. Played Hopkins a ton over chalky Aaron Jones. Hopkins catches a 70-yard touchdown right away. Not only does it get called back with a bullcrap freaking face mask, but he gets injured and doesn't play the rest of it. It's kind of been the story of football for us so far this year. And then Aaron Jones goes off, obviously. So super tilting. But now you got Kyler and Hop hurt. I just look at the rosters. I freaking love San Francisco. And you want to know a stud, Deebo Samuel. We've been on him all year. The dude is an absolute machine and just a total stud. I'm going to keep playing him. I'm going to keep jamming him every week. And this week's going to be no different. The dude is a top 5 receiver in football. He's just a monster. He's really, really good. He can do everything. So love him, and I love Eli Mitchell. The thing I like about the Niners, this is what I always say when they're on showdowns, and I just like how condensed their offense is. Everything goes through 2 guys. Yeah, they got a lot of other pieces that people get tempted with here and there. But ultimately, when they play good, and if they win this football game, it's going to be because of Deebo and Eli Mitchell. And I love both of them. So it fits naturally for me. I am fine playing both of them, maybe even together. Probably one, though, maybe both, if you can talk yourself into some Arizona, but probably one. And probably, Mitchell's 5,800 and a 71 on FanDuel, so that's a little more fair. 5,800 on DK, though. Way too cheap. Arizona looked terrible last week versus Green Bay, and now their 2 key guys are hurt. I love San Francisco. Might be my favorite pick of the week. I love them in this game. I love Mitchell, Deebo, and honestly, I don't like anything from Arizona. Maybe if Hopkins sat. Who's even their backup? Kyler's going to play, but he's hurt.
Isn't it Colt McCoy?
Yeah. Ugh. I don't like Arizona. I'd have and the total's not that high on top of it. San Fran loves playing slow and running the ball. I don't like Arizona here.
Yeah, this was so I'm not I really don't like San Francisco as a team. I just think Jimmy Garoppolo is, obviously not the guy. And then they have Trey Lance waiting. Just not a fan of this team. I will say, though, the one good thing for fantasy is what Tony said. It's pretty much 2 guys. It's Deebo and Eli Mitchell. So I don't mind those 2 calls. Arizona, to me, is just, they're beating up right now. D-Hop's injured. AJ Green's got the COVID. He might not play. So, and then Murray. It's just a rough time right now for them. I could see why people are jumping on San Fran. I think for DFS purposes, though, I might just be lighter on this game. Maybe I'll play a little Mitchell, maybe some Deebo, but overall, I just might fade a lot of this game. Outside, if one of these wide receivers are out for Arizona, Rondale Moore is so friggin' cheap at 4,200. And if Kyler's hurt and they're not going to let him run, it makes more sense for more plays where they're getting him the ball quick and in space to get the ball out of Kyler's hands, which would actually set up for more plays designed for Rondale Moore, more running back, more runs maybe for the running backs as well. So I think Rondale Moore makes a lot of sense in this spot. So outside of him and maybe those 2 San Francisco guys, I'm off the rest of Kyler and D-Hop and all those guys. I'm out on them. So that's that. Let's move on. We got the last game to talk about, and it's the big game of the week, obviously. No Aaron Rodgers. Pat Mahomes has looked really rough the last few weeks, but Chiefs in Kansas City, they're favored -7.5 here against Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers. 48 is the total. Okay. Do we think Jordan Love can, put up some points on this Chiefs team that hasn't looked that good? I think that is the first question we got to answer. Dunkel, what do you think here?
You hate to see it 2 times in the same show.
Twice in one time. Luckily you don't get jumped on like JSU does when he says something. Dunkel does anything wrong, no one will ever say anything.
Fire away. I'm an open book.
No, the people just love you, Dunkel. They'll never say anything about you. They love you.
I think so. Yeah, look, every quarterback has had success this year against this Chiefs defense. Jordan Love's an interesting thing here, though, right? Because we've seen glimpses of him, and it hasn't been great what we've seen, but it's been decent. And maybe he's improved, maybe he hasn't. I don't know. It's a tough gig, right? If you're Jordan Love, you kind of know this isn't your team until Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. So you're just a bona fide backup. And has he elevated himself? Has he improved? I guess we'll find out. But it's tough to think they won't move the ball at all, right? Because they still have Adams, they still have Aaron Jones. This team still has weapons. Another one of Tanyan, but that's not as big of a deal as like Adams would be. So I think Love could move the sticks here. The problem is like we just seem like we're going to get a good game from Kansas City at some point. Like, how could that much talent continue to play this poorly? But with that said, you could also take the approach of, look, I'm just going to keep fading KC until they prove me wrong, because they've been a moneymaker, just like the same way Dallas has been a moneymaker. They're the best team in the NFL against the spread. I mean, Kansas City's been a moneymaker fading them. And now you're getting another spot where it's another 7. I think you could tease this down, but that would be the only thing I would do, because it would be catastrophic to this Chiefs team if Jordan Love rolls into Arrowhead and upsets them. I think you can, like I said, I think you can tease this down. That'll make some sense for Kansas City. But laying the number, it's still tough with this team until they prove you they can play a complete game. It's tough to bet them.
Tony, I mean, how do you feel on Jordan Love's and the Packers this week? What's the feeling?
Yeah, I mean, the teaser looks like a lock to me at 7.5 going to 1.5. But the flip side is, we just watched what Green Bay did to Arizona. They can run the ball very effectively with Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon. A.J. Dillon looks really good. And I don't know. I'm definitely going to put it in my teasers, because on the surface, it's a season game for Kansas City. I mean, they have to win games like this versus Jordan Love at home. I'm not like overly convicted about the Chiefs, though. Like I said at the beginning of the show, like I'm not like jumping over myself to roster these guys this week, even though it looks good on paper. I think Green Bay is going to run the ball effectively, so I don't think it's going to be a high scoring game at all. And I'm definitely not going to play. Like, Kelsey looks hurt to me. I mean, it would be Tyreek if I was playing anyone in this spot, but man, I don't trust the Chiefs. I don't. I'm going to put them in the teasers just because it makes too much sense to do it. But man, I am worried, and I don't mind a guy like A.J. Dillon at 4,600. He got a little unlucky last week. I think it's going to be the similar blueprint, right? Last week at Arizona, Kyler was a little banged up. Hop was banged up, but they were able to run it. He got 16 carries. If he gets 16 carries against the Chiefs at 4,600, I'll take my freaking chances that he gets there for me with 16 carries. So I think he's very, very sneaky in this game at that price point.
Yeah. So the question is that, if the Chiefs offense looks the way it does, it actually leans even more to your A.J. Dillon point of seeing the exact same blueprint we saw last week. Now, if the Chiefs somehow click on offense and they get up big, I think that's going to take away from the A.J. Dillon blueprint. But as long as Green Bay can keep this game somewhat close, yeah, I think you're going to see the exact same thing you saw last week. Aaron Jones and A.J. Dillon, you're going to see a lot of them. Getting them the ball, getting Aaron Jones the ball in space too, a little more play design, and then both guys just pounding the run game. Pound the run game. Put the quarterback in nice third and short situations where he can make easier throws and keep him in good spots. The thing from a DFS side, though, Tony, you talked about A.J. Dillon. So do you not have any interest in Aaron Jones? Is Devontae Adams just like completely out of not in play for you?
Yeah,
How do
I'm
you
not
see
playing
this?
those two. I'm definitely not playing those two. I think they're going to be higher owned than they should be. Devontae, I'm just not paying that price without Rodgers. They have that chemistry that I think he's actually. This is going to sound crazy to people. I think he's a very easy fade, honestly, at 8,200. I won't even. I never say this because he's my favorite receiver. I won't even consider him. I don't think. He has
I don't
that
think he's
chemistry
in
with
play,
Rodgers.
Tony. I don't think he's in play.
And you
That's
can play
how crazy
Tyreek for
it is.
300 cheaper in the same game. I would just much rather play Tyreek in the same game. 8,200. Yeah, I mean, Devontae could always crush you, but half the thing that makes him great is Rodgers, just that chemistry, those back shoulder throws that they hit you with, the double pump post patterns that they hit across the middle all night. Love's not going to do that with him. And Aaron Jones, I'd play Aaron Jones before Devontae, but I don't think I need him either.
Yeah, I think if I was going to play one, it would be Aaron Jones, because you have to think they're going to pound the run game. They're going to pound both these two running backs. They're going to try and run right through, keep Mahomes on the sideline, run right through Kansas City, time of possession, and just win it that way. That's probably how Green Bay wants to play this game. And yeah, I think that's going to hurt Devontae Adams overall. I'm not going to play so no Jordan Love either, Tony. 4,400 Jordan Love.
Is that what he is? 4,400?
Yeah, he's 4,400.
I mean, I hate to be repetitive, but man, I just think we overthink it sometimes. My 4,400 looks tempting for sure. And granted, the difference is between him and Lamar. So what is Lamar in the 7Ks? I'm sure. So almost double the price. I mean, yeah, Lamar gets you 27. We only need from a 4,400 quarterback. I mean, you only need 15 to 20 to get a similar production. I'm never going to fully roll out a 4,400 quarterback against the Chiefs. So I'm not prepared to say no or yes yet.
Yeah, so we got some Jordan and Devontae played catch all summer while Aaron was doing Jeopardy. Here's the thing, though. Tony's right. What makes the connection great and what makes Adams always in play at his price tag is the fact that Rodgers always throws him jump balls. The run pass option, he's always just pulling the ball out of the running back and quick throwing it to Devontae for 7-8 yards. Those rack up in receptions where Jordan Love's not going to do that. He's not going to rip that ball out of the running back's belly and just pull it and just throw the football. He's not going to do that crap. I don't think you're going to see that much from Jordan Love, where Aaron Rodgers, he'll call his own shot when he wants to. And it comes at Devontae Adams. This is going to come at Devontae Adams' expense with Jordan Love back there. It's going to hurt him. And I think his overall, now, could he get in the box somehow? Yeah, he could. I mean, he could, but I think you're missing out on a bunch of the receptions that Aaron Rodgers just forces Devontae's way, which is it takes him out of play for me. I would play Tyreek Hill over him. I just can't not play Tyreek Hill over him. Even Deebo Samuel, Tony talked about it. Dunkel talked about him too. This dude is monster potential. He's cheaper than him. It's tough to click Devontae's name. But I will say Jordan Love, I think, has to at least be in play at 4,400. He has to be a look, in my opinion.
I'll say one thing too. So this is going to all be depending on the injuries, but if MVS and Lazard miss, this Winfrey looked good to me last week, and in a Millie Maker type format.
Tony, huh? I think Lazard is definitely in. I think.
Oh, is he?
And in MVS, yeah. I don't know about him, but I think he's supposed to return.
Winfrey did look smooth though.
He looked good, yeah. And man, just to say in theory, just say the news breaks our way because we're recording this on Wednesday. To play a quarterback at 4,400 and play Winfrey at 3K and know that they've probably worked a lot in practice too together, and you can run it back with. You could even play in a team like that. You could even play like Tyreek and Kelsey or something. And I don't hate it, but yeah, I mean, if these guys play, Winfrey would be pretty thin. But I wish they would just sit because I don't want to play Lazard or MVS. I don't want to play those guys. I would love to play Winfrey at 3K though. Did JSU freeze on us now? as we're ready to look at him. You know, he's always freezing with
Can we spotlight Frozen JSU? Hashtag.
Yeah, I mean, look at him. It is on the YouTube page, just sitting there, just dead frozen. Just like it is good timing though, because it's the last game.
We got a blue screen JSU sighting.
He's had that happen. He needs to get that computer upgraded. He's had that happen a few times this week.
I mean, watching this YouTube. Oh, now he's up. But watching this YouTube video, he's giving off some like Westworld vibes.
It might be what it is. Is that's the last game, anyways, right?
Yeah, that's the last game.
Yeah. So I mean, that's pretty much it for us. We got to decide if we're gonna go do this sports betting championship, represent the print factory out there. What else we got? Are we done? What else we got to tell the people? What do we got coming from the bet side?
Yeah, weekend full of sports. On our side, of course, college football was nice to hit the winner today with Northern Illinois over their number. Tomorrow,
it's nice having the action back, right? Get us a little weeknight action.
It's good to have Tuesday, Wednesday action back. Yeah, so that's good. And I think that just hoping to build on it from there. Thursday night football tomorrow, where I like the Colts first half. Then we'll have a Friday vid for college and more plays on Saturday. And of course, the DFS and crushes college football and NFL. So be sure to check everything out at RunPure Sports. Any new codes, Tony, on the DFS end?
No, we're down at the base. I mean, we got so much right now that we don't have any super discount, but our RPS heater 25, I think, is our main one, 25% off the first purchase. But I mean, now's the time. You got college football, you got NBA, you got all the other sports that are coming in too that we always talk about. A big MMA card on Saturday, tennis every day, college football, Bruce crushes, Dunkel crushes on the bet side. Just it's outrageous. I mean, people should be signed up. $100 too for the bet side and the DFS side. $75 obviously with the code, 25% off. Sign up though. We've been crushing, and hopefully we do good in this sports betting championship if we go. But another fun week. We'll look forward to ODB being back next week, JSU being unfrozen next week. Hopefully not talking about freaking Urban Meyer, not talking about my two touchdowns from my min-priced running back.
I'm not giving you credit on Boston Scott was my favorite part of the show.
Oh, and you stirred the pot too to make it even better. Stirred the freaking pot. I mean, it is insane that he wasn't giving me credit for that. You had to hear that early in the week when he was arguing about that.
Oh yeah.
Cool. Everybody, let's pick some winners this week. We'll be back tomorrow with the Showdown show tomorrow afternoon, 2:00, another show. I mean, shows all day again tomorrow. We got so much content right now that free and paid, all kinds of stuff. Check it out. But we're out here. Simon, get us out of here.